St. Joe's County Sheriff's Office. How can I help you?
I was wondering, can I get somebody to do a wellness check?
Okay, and what's the person's name?
His name is Father Rene Roberts. I think my brother might have done something to hurt him and stole his car and everything. He made the comment to my dad that Father Rene was tied up.
Do you mean that he's busy or physically tied up?
Physically. And my brother is just crazy enough to do that. He tied my sister up a couple years back and tried to kill her. That's what we're afraid of.
Many agree to be interrogated anyway, but they can stop the interview at any moment, making it a race.
St. Joe's County Sheriff's Office.
Yes, ma'am. I called last night to have a well check done on Father Rene Roberts in St. Augustine, and nobody ever called me back to let me know the verdict of that.
One second, okay. It says that they didn't actually go out with him. His vehicle was also not there.
Mr. Rene Roberts is not answering his phone still. We're worried about that man.
I got a phone call from my sergeant at the time, and he told us we had a missing priest. And when he told me who it was, it kind of set me back on my heels a little bit.
We made contact with the person who cleaned his apartment, and patrol deputies went inside the apartment with her, and he was not there. I noticed there were some couple of drawers that were pulled out. There was mail everywhere. There was food on the kitchen counter, which appeared that somebody may have taken a bite or two and kind of just left it there.
There was no obvious signs of a struggle. There was no blood. So it looked like he could have just up and left.
Father Rene was very prominent in St. Augustine, which is a town with a very large Catholic population. He had retired from the full-time priesthood, but still did services and different functions for the church.
It'd been several days that no one, even very close individuals, had not heard from him.
The Catholic Church told us about Father Rene missing several appointments, which was very out of character.
It's like he fell off the face of the earth.
My brother was a saint. He always said he was going to be a priest someday. He loved helping people. I remember when he came home and said to my mother and father, I want to teach the deaf. And then he eventually went in to teach the blind too. My brother saw the potential in so many people, and they were your family, no matter who they were. Sometimes I used to think he carried the world on his shoulders because he just wanted so much to make people happy.
Amy Law says her family expected Father Rene to do the prayer service for her 88-year-old grandfather Monday night.
Very sad, and we'd like answers.
The next morning, the priest didn't make it to the funeral home either, and a military chaplain had to step in.
Definitely had a sinking feeling.
Since then, fears about what happened to Father Rene have grown.
So tell me who Father Rene is to you.
So the first time I talked to Father Rene was right after I had my brother arrested. When I asked him to not bond him out, we wanted him to stay there and dry out. My brother is Stephen Murray.
Okay.
My brother got out. He got released from jail. And Father Rene called me when he got out. My brother had already contacted him for money and rides and stuff like that.
Okay.
She told the detectives that Father Rene had become involved with individuals that were troubled per se, that had been in jail. He always tried to actually help them recover, get on the right path. And Father Rene was trying to help Stephen with drug addiction and drug use.
So what made you call the sheriff's office?
My dad came over And my brother had been staying over there with them since he got released from jail. And so I asked him, you know, how Stephen was doing. He said Stephen left with Father Rene the night before, and that was the last time he'd seen him. I've been dialing his number ever since, like for the past 2 days, and it's going straight to voicemail.
Okay.
And so I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, what if this man is hurt? Stephen he is a violent person.
Okay.
So, I mean, we just feel like he might have hurt that man.
Does your dad know about all this?
We got a feeling he does, but we think he's trying to cover up for my brother.
Behind the Signal 8 vehicle, we got Corolla, blue in color. We're on
High stress situation.
We knew that it was not Father Rene driving. He would never flee from a traffic stop.
We didn't get close enough to see there was a white male individual in the driver's seat, but we could not identify him.
I've got him right in front of me. 433 dog air. We need that vehicle stopped.
We suspected the driver may be Stephen Murray, but we were not sure 100%.
If you can't safely do that, I want you to back off. It's not worth it.
All right, we're in the construction zone. We're going to have to slow it down, guys. 54. We lost him in the construction. We all backed off.
It was a little bit frustrating and upsetting. Whoever was driving the car was a critical piece of the puzzle for us to be able to get to where Father Rene was. Bobby was there by himself. We told him, listen, we need to figure out where Stephen is. We need to talk to him. Bobby said, I can't help you and find him. While we were at his father's residence, Stephen contacted Bobby Murray on the phone and told him that he was running from the police. Stephen said, well, I just outrun multiple deputies. The officer spoke with him and told him he needed to turn himself in. Now we just have to find him.
As an investigator, you're a little conflicted on trying to expedite and get as much information as you can as quickly as possible. There were some things that I would have liked to have confront Bobby Murray on, but we wanted to make sure that we kept him talking and that we didn't give him a reason to be offended or terminate the interview.
How you doing, sir? My name is Gene Tolbert. I'm a detective with the Major Crimes Unit in St. Johns County. And I realize this is probably a crazy situation for you to be in. But I need your help. Okay? Your son's in a little bit of trouble. Alright? And we need to figure out how we're going to handle this. Okay?
You said a little bit. What you talking about?
Well, I can't answer that right now. Okay? So, that's why I need to know what you know. And I can compare it to what I know. And then it kind of gives me a direction from there.
We were working against the clock as far as Father Rene's well-being goes. There was still a hope that we would be able to bring Father Rene home alive. We really felt like that Bobby was going to be the key to unlocking this investigation.
I got a call from a detective, and he said, Father Rene, he's missing, and people are very worried. I was so scared for him. I had this feeling, I was just so scared for him.
Let me ask you this. Tell me, what do you know as far as your son's activities for the past 3 or 4 days?
He came to the house last night. He walked up to the house. He was drinking. He left the house about 4 hours ago. When he left, he took my phone with him.
Any idea where he went to?
No.
Okay.
He didn't say. He just told me he'd be back in a little while.
When he left earlier, how did he
He
leave?
driving, I don't know what kind of car it was.
Could it have been a Toyota Corolla?
It could have been, I don't know.
Well, the reason why I ask is because that's what he was driving tonight when the police chased him.
Yes, sir. I'm saying it could have been.
Okay. And no idea where that car came from?
No, sir.
The car that we spoke of, that you said Stephen showed up in your house, it actually belongs to Father Rene, the person who's been reported missing out of St. Johns County. And the circumstances in which that person went missing are very suspicious. As a detective, my number one question is why is Stephen driving this man's car? And where's this man at?
To be honest with you, I don't know. He called me. He said, I got 15, 20 cops cars behind me. And I asked him, I said, son, what the hell are you trying to do? He said, I don't want to leave no more there. He said, I don't want to leave.
Okay.
And that's the exact words he told me. And I told him, I said, son, don't do that to me.
Right. I'm with you.
I can't deal with that.
I'm very concerned about some of Stephen's statements about wanting to die, and I don't want to see Stephen hurt or dead or anything any more than you do. And if he has this kind of, attitude, and
this is what's gonna happen.
I
already know.
I'm just asking you for your help the best you can.
I was sitting there. That's before he took off.
There are so many scenarios that are possible. If you were to call Stephen right now and tell Stephen that if he wants you to come pick him up, that you'll come pick him up.
He ain't let me do it. He knows I'm here with y'all. He ain't going back to prison.
But I still gotta find this man.
I would have no idea.
After talking to Bobby Murray for a period of time, it seemed futile, and he was just eating away at the clock.
Hang tight with me, and I'll get right back with you, okay?
Yes.
All right.
If he had information, it was pretty clear he wasn't going to share it with us. Blood is thicker than water. It seemed like he would do everything he could to protect his son.
This is exclusive video of Father Rene's family leaving the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office after getting an update on the search for the missing priest. They told me they didn't want to go into detail, but they appeared disappointed and frustrated.
Populated, heavily wooded area. SWAT starts working down this fire break in the woods, searching for Stephen, and they come upon Father Rene's vehicle. As they're approaching, they find Stephen Murray behind the wheel. Stephen apparently sees some motion or light in his rearview mirror, starts the car up and takes off.
However, he ended up crashing and running away from the vehicle.
So he has fled into basically the jungle.
We thought maybe Father Rene is in the trunk of that vehicle. When they approached and looked, Father Rene was not in there. At that point, we suspected that something bad had happened.
just to know that he could kind of be lurking above, kind of in the tree canopy, is a pretty scary scenario. After several hours of kind of keeping constant pressure and perimeter on this area, working it with teams, dogs, and helicopters, we kind of catch a break, and finally Stephen comes down. I think it was very tiring on Stephen, and I think he just ran out of wind. Fortunately, he didn't have a weapon with him at the time, and he was forced to concede and surrender.
Stephen Murray was originally from Aiken County, South Carolina. We have a history with this guy. My experience in dealing with Stephen, anytime, especially an overbearing male figure moved in aggressively towards him, Stephen would automatically put that wall up and he would shut down. And eventually he's going to lawyer up.
Let's see that green chair. Gentlemen, you want to shut this door here? Gentlemen, if you would. No, thank you. Oh, man. Where you all that work at? I'm paying attention. Where'd you do your time? Much back. I mean, about 20-something.
My first and major concern, as everybody's, was for the safety of Father Rene. That's priority. Where is he? Is he safe? But time starts to become our enemy. And Stephen was the only person above ground who knew where Father Rene was. He was the only person.
I know you're not going to ask for it, but would you like something to eat? We're hungry.
Not until I'm hungry enough to eat her ass out of a hole.
Okay, let me work on that.
I'm tired, man. I'm very tired, man. I wish somebody could just help me. I mean, just take this from me, man.
That's what I'm here for. I'm here to talk to you and tell me what I need to do to help you.
Where you get that from?
Like we've been driving all day. Yeah. So, which one you want?
No, probably want that.
It's easy to have conversation while you're eating food, takes some of the pressure off. Also, that releases some chemicals in their body, especially if they haven't had any of that in a while. Sometimes makes them a little bit more talkative.
Behind the hill in Florida charged me with aggravated fleeing and eluding. And they don't even know that was me driving.
Didn't you talk to a policeman that night? On the phone?
I talked to a policeman.
Yeah. Didn't you tell him you were driving the car?
Talked to a JSO. They said, man, I don't know what you did, but you pissed them off and they want to talk to you. I said, okay, well, I'll turn myself in and talk to them. Didn't tell them I was driving, though.
At that point, after eating, we knew he was settled. He was ready to go. He knows that now we're going to start getting into some questioning in more of a confrontational way.
But how fast were you driving to lose all the police cars?
Wasn't driving.
I'm not going to argue with you about it. We know you were, because you told your dad, you told your sister. You know, we didn't just magic our ways up here.
So you have his car. We haven't heard or seen him since. How does that look?
I understand.
How does that look?
But just because something looks some way, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to refer. It doesn't look good. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It does not look good. This man is missing. We're still here trying to find him.
I'm a law-abiding citizen. Man, I like smoking another cigarette, man. Y'all asking a lot of questions. If there was something I could do to help you, you know what I'm saying, do that, I would.
When did you get his call?
I think I called him and told him that I had some money for him if he wanted to come get it.
Where do you think you at?
He picked me up right there by my dad's.
What did you do after that?
Me and Father Renee was riding. He didn't know that I was going to meet somebody for some weed, which I didn't tell him that because, you know, he's a priest. I was supposed to be meeting the dude at the kangaroo right there. So I asked Father Renee if he would stand right here for a minute. You know, Father Renee usually does that. I dropped him off. I never came back. I mean, I ended up doing drugs. And I never came back and got him. And that's how I got his call. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm in trouble, you know. I shouldn't have did that. It was too late, you know, so I just got the car, you know.
What did you do after that?
Just drove and I was scared. I mean, I know that I was in trouble.
What do you think he is right now?
No.
Did you ever go back out to the area to look for him?
I'm not sure. I mean, I was probably on drugs and mine somewhere else, you know. I can't even give you an exact date, but it's not something that I keep up with. I can't accurately say that because I don't know.
About what time did you drop him off?
So
on Sunday?
I'm not sure which day it was. I'm really not sure.
We had been talking to him for such a long time, and we were going in circles.
Never been to it. I don't know, man. I don't really know, man. I mean, I'm not real familiar with that area. But,
what was he wearing the last time you saw him?
I think he's asking a lot now. I mean, I couldn't honestly tell you what he was exactly wearing.
He's giving non-specific answers. His defenses are up. I don't think we're getting anywhere. So I felt like we need to push it a little bit harder. It's kind of a make it or break it part of that interview, because all Steven's got to do is say, I want my lawyer.
Listen, I think you know a lot more than what you're telling me.
I mean, he could be alive and well somewhere right now. He could be on vacation for all I know. I mean, he hasn't told me anything. He hasn't told y'all anything. So therefore, we all don't know. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Steve, come on now. I'm asking your help. Any piece of information that you can give us so that we can bring him home.
Okay.
That's...
Well, I mean, I'm answering every question you asked, man.
Well, that's the thing that they don't think you're being truthful about.
Yeah.
But I mean, opinion, you know, opinions, I guess. Everybody's got one, you know.
What do you think? Is he dead?
I mean, I couldn't tell you. I mean, personally, I don't know. I mean, I couldn't tell you if he's dead or alive, because I don't know.
What do you think happened to him?
Well, you just asked that, and I just gave you an answer, you know. You asking the same questions, expecting a different answer, you know. That's the definition of sanity. And so if you're going to keep on trying to dig at me, then we ain't got nothing to talk about.
What do you mean?
I mean, you ain't getting nowhere. I mean, if I won't continue to ask the same questions, then I don't think there's nothing else we need to talk about. What a cigarette, man. Y'all got my nerve to a slap up, man, asking all these 1,100 questions.
So we're just talking, man.
You can see by his attitude he was going to shut down and not talk to us anymore, that you cannot give up.
Our job during this interview, get him talking, keep him talking. I was not there to get the confession. It was to make sure that I left the door open for another investigator at another time.
Well, we ready to go, ain't we?
We rocking and rolling, man.
Ready.
What's going on?
I can't call it, man. Another interview? Man, them jokers that just left, they're asking the same question over and over and over again. And I'm just looking at them, man. Can't be serious.
Oh, you're gonna try to make them more comfortable too. Last time I saw you, you were putting him in an ambulance to the hospital.
I'm gonna probably overdose.
It was. Kind of an awkward angle.
Now, you remember me, right?
I do.
You sat in my office, remember?
Yes, I do.
And we were straightforward. You were younger then.
I was 16.
Well, you had just turned 17. You just turned 17. The last time we spoke was a burglary. Remember the samurai sword?
Man, you got a good memory.
I do have a good memory.
A good memory.
I do have a good memory.
You can watch his body language. He's uncrossed his arms. He's sitting back in the chair again. He's not slumped over. He's looking up again.
It was best for people that he had encountered in the past to walk in that room, just put him a little bit more at ease. Stephen Murray had had a very, very difficult and abusive childhood. We knew if you touched on that emotion that Stephen carries inside of him and then back off of it, that would open a door, a floodgate.
I'm wondering, you've got a decent head on your shoulders. Why would you get messed up with something that you got to be sitting in a sheriff's office at an ungodly hour?
Well, you know, so you got this baby, newborn baby. You raise that baby. Baby, perfectly stored with rape. You know, and the baby grows up on that.
Becomes a product of their environment.
Becomes a product of the environment.
You got it rough.
Yeah, I mean, but hey, what can I do about it, you know?
Get dealt a hand, you do what you can.
Right, you pray about it, but hell, my knees is tired and my knees is getting sore. My damn knees are sore. I got calluses on them. I need some more prayer.
You know what? Those calluses tighten you up, man. I don't blame you for that.
I am who I am. Somebody jump out the car and run and y'all holler, don't do it, Steve, and that's how good y'all know me.
You were straight with me and I was straight with you.
I tried my whole life to change who I am. I'm a sick puppy. I mean, I'm sick. I try to be that.
And it tires you out, don't it?
For what?
You're mentally tired.
Because I don't want to be that
You're
person.
not physically tired, you're mentally tired.
Mentally, I mean,
You need a rest. You need a mental rest. But, do you know where it really all begins?
Begins with you being honest with yourself.
There you go.
Stephen came back to life. He was initiating, he was engaging. And when that happens, that opens the door for the potential for something else to follow up.
We're done. Let's go smoke. I don't smoke, but you are. Here. You right-handed, right? Give me your left hand.
I walked out being 100% satisfied with what we got because I knew there's an opportunity for tomorrow.
The search for Father Rene is not over. Numerous sites have already been looked at, and more are to follow. Father Rene is still missing, but his presence is still felt at the San Sebastian Catholic Church.
We are going to find him, and we're going to bring him home.
How you feel about going back to Florida, man?
I feel real good. Damn, girl, you made it up here?
We thought that I was going to soften him up and get him to talk.
It was obvious that they had a very close relationship, but there was a calculated risk in putting Bobby Jean in this position. Stephen was being so unpredictable at that point. Everybody's fear was that he was going to shut down completely.
We brought your sister here. She's obviously told us that you got a big heart, that you're not a bad man. We're just trying to bring closure to the family, find out where he's at, so we can bring him home.
And I don't want you to think that I'm going against you right now. I just want you to do the right thing for a change. Okay? I'm not going to look at you any different than you being my brother, and I love you. Tell me. You ain't got to say nothing else. Just say yes or no. Can I help him or not? They want to see you do the right thing, and, you know, regardless of whatever it is, we're here.
Thank you, Jen. Appreciate it. And I ain't got nothing to say. I mean, I ain't got nothing to say to you. I mean, I really don't.
You ain't willing to throw me any hints?
Wait to the grave. Like I always have. I'm sorry I had to taste this plate with me. I'm sorry for that. Look, we all make bad decisions in our life. Fortunately, I made a lot of them, you know?
There was a moment you can see his face expression change, his body posture change, and he kind of just slumped to the side, and all of us were convinced that he was going to break down. And we thought that was the moment for us to actually go at him hard.
They're building a big case for you down in Florida.
You look like the Statue of Liberty, and I'll try to knock it down.
Yeah, well, that's not gonna happen.
We need to bring the priest home. You just gotta face him. Okay? And lying is not gonna fix anything.
I'm lying, man.
Because you are.
You are.
Call me a liar to my face.
That's right.
I mean, I reckon I like to exercise my rights then.
I felt like he punched me in the mouth when he said that.
He pulled the trigger and did his Miranda warnings, and that was that. We're done. I tell you, it was soul crushing to be that close.
The reality was that we may never be able to locate him. We had to come up with a new strategy on how to move forward and get our heads back in the game.
Hey, girl.
Hey,
What you doing?
we're going through hell out here that we don't even deserve. People talking to us, talking about that we used to help you cover up stuff and all, and we probably know where Father Renee is. We don't know how much more we can handle. I just broke down and cried yesterday because we don't deserve this. My kids don't deserve this.
I'm sorry, Gene. I mean, hell, what do you want me to do? I mean, tell me.
I just want you to be honest with them, regardless of the situation. This ain't gonna be over with until they find Father Renee.
I love you with all my heart.
My cell phone rings, and I learned Stephen Murray has asked to speak to detectives. We didn't know about what, but he wanted to talk to us.
He had made a phone call to Bobby Jean, and I do believe that conversation with Bobby Jean could have been a very pivotal moment for Stephen. I was hoping that Stephen was ready to talk. He was getting ready to get it off his chest and tell us.
Okay. All right. It's your show, brother. We're just here to watch. Tell us.
All right. Well, the first part of the story I told y'all where Father Renee picked me up and I was going to pay him the money, which was true. And I picked him up after I got back from the dope trap down off 90. And we went up to South Carolina, and I said, I want to see my kids.
Did he say he didn't want to go?
He said no point, that he didn't want to go. He just said, okay. I mean, I wasn't aggressive with it or anything, you know. I wanted to go see my kids.
Where's he at in the car?
He's in the trunk by that point.
He's in the trunk. Okay. Is he tied up or anything like that? How'd you get him to get in the trunk?
Asked me to.
Did you say or else?
He said or else. I said, I need you to get in the trunk, Father Rene. He said, okay. I'm right in there, you know. I helped him in there and told him, I said, just do what I tell you to and everything's going to be okay, you know. And, you know, I'm talking to him, you know, and he's still telling me, you know, that I'm in great trouble and that I'm never going to get away with this. And I'm thinking, you know, like, oh, man, you know, maybe I am in a great deal of trouble. I guess I got real skitsed out, man. I'm scared, I guess, you know. I mean, scared for me, scared for my life.
Is there something that snaps in your head, like, hey, I got to take care of this, or this is going to be a problem? Or?
If he going to go back and tell on me, though, and get me in trouble, I mean, look, let's go ahead and get rid of you know.
Okay. So tell me about that. What happened with that?
Well, he's steady talking to the trunk, you know. He's hollering, I gotta use your bathroom. And I said, okay, you know, I'm gonna let you out in just a second, you know. And so I stopped and let him out use the bathroom. I had a 9mm and I shot him.
Okay. So, like, me and you are looking at each other right now, and you shot him like that?
It was more of from the side. And then he fell and I shot him in the head.
Okay.
With the left.
Just listening to Stephen talk about the way he murdered Father Rene in such a cold and callous way, it's one of the times in my career that I've actually felt the presence of evil in an interview room.
Shot him in the, I think, the chest one time and in the head the last time.
Stephen finally confessed Father Rene was no longer alive. He's dead somewhere, but he still needed to come clean and tell us where the body was. Finding the priest and bringing him back home and making sure that the family got a proper burial for him was critical.
Well, tell us what happened with where you say you killed Father Rene. Where did that occur at? Like on the side of the road or a gas station? Okay.
It's a real wooded area.
Real wooded area?
Yeah, like, you know, y'all would have never found him. It happened in Georgia, close to South Carolina.
Do you know what highway it is? What road? 'Cause I know you know those roads like the back of your hand up there. You know it better than I do.
I know the roads, but I mean, I would have to take you.
Okay.
Period. I mean, I don't sit here. I like to ride for man, you know. But I mean, as far as like taking me to the exact location, I would have to be in the car and point it out.
So we were all thinking he's playing games again.
I think that gave Stephen a certain sense of power and authority, and that he was in charge in that situation. But the decision was made to put Stephen in a car. And almost immediately when we pulled up, we saw a flock of buzzards kind of take off, which kind of drew our attention over, and you could see Father Rene's body laying
and brutally murdered.
Whoever killed this lady was angry.
But
They're thinking, we finally have our guy.
decades later, a new suspect emerges.
He had a lot of hatred and anger towards women.
When they got electricity and everything.
Investigators searching for answers.
You beat the hell out of that girl. I did not.
In the interrogation room.
What I told you she had 9, 10, 11 other stab wounds. That's bullshit. How do you know?
A call was made by two friends. And ultimately, they could hear the dispatcher, but the dispatcher could not hear them. They went next door to use the neighbor's phone to communicate with the emergency dispatcher that their good friend is dead.
When the police entered the residence, there was no sign of a disturbance. There did not seem to be any forced entry into the house. There was no evidence that the front door had been forced, no pry marks on the door jamb. There were no windows broken. But in the bedroom, there was a lot of evidence of an incredible amount of violence, and that's where they located the victim, Kathleen Doyle. She was 25 years of age. She had her hands tied behind her back. She had an electrical cord wrapped around her neck, had extensive bruising to her face and head that was consistent with some sort of a blunt force trauma. She had sustained a single knife wound to the front of her chest and also her back, and it was apparent that a sexual assault had occurred.
There was seminal fluid on the bed. They knew right then that whoever killed this lady was angry. It was a crime of passion.
"9 months, 5 of which her husband had been away at sea. This was really hard time to spend, and particularly for a newlywed. This was a smart, thoughtful woman. Her father described her as sort of regal, someone, if you met her, you'd never forget her.
She was a college graduate out of the New England area, a journalism major, and she was characterized by friends and family as the type of person that never met a stranger, so she could pretty much talk to anybody.
I was astonished Kathleen Doyle was murdered. It wasn't a place where you'd expect something like this could happen. Her husband, Stephen Doyle, was a world away in the Indian Ocean, so it must have been extremely difficult for him. He had to feel completely helpless.
Was doing it for the purpose of taking property, because there were all sorts of personal belongings in the house that had value and nothing seemed to have been taken. But this is also 1980, so we don't have DNA then. We don't have a lot of the modern forensic tools, and so the police did what was the standard bread and butter forensic tool, which was they looked for fingerprints. They looked throughout the house, but there were no unidentified latent prints.
When the call came in, the emergency dispatcher could not hear them. They weren't sure what the problem was, but the detectives had the wherewithal to unscrew the mouthpiece on the phone, and that's when they discovered that the receiver was missing.
That was obviously a very odd factual idiosyncrasy. That gave them some insight into whoever did this obviously took steps to try to thwart anyone from calling the police or trying to obtain help.
They had interviewed every ex-boyfriend that they knew of, interview after interview after interview, and ruling out, persons X, Y, and Z.
Kathleen was known to be just such a nice person, someone without enemies, and none of the normal lines that the police might investigate, is there someone who's interested in her romantically, outside of her marriage, none of that applied.
After about 7 months, they had vetted everybody that they knew of, and they were more or less at a dead end.
There is great fear in the community at that point. People were really scared. And I think the fear has to come from the fact that there was no suspect, that there was no sense who did this.
Norfolk investigators were alerted to this guy in Texas for a number of unsolved homicides across the United States.
I think by the time it's done with, counting me and another person, it'll be way over 500.
Lucas admitted to committing 500 or 600 homicides all over the United States. Otis Toole admitted to a lesser number of homicides, but also extensive amount. There's an infamous picture that the Texas Rangers put out. There's all these push pins in the map of homicide cases that Lucas is taking credit for. There's a cluster of 4 little pins in Virginia.
That led Norfolk investigators to the Williamson County Jail to interview Henry Lee Lucas on the unsolved homicide of Kathleen Doyle.
I understand you were in Norfolk over a period of time, in and out, passing through. Off and on. Off and on. Would you stay in Norfolk, or would you? Where did you stay in the area? I stayed in the area. Well, here's a map of Norfolk. This is right out here. Right in this area. Chesapeake Boulevard. Here in this area.
Chesapeake Boulevard, coincidentally, is not too far from Kathleen's house, so they're thinking we might need to show him a picture of the house, just to see if he recognizes this and see if it looks familiar.
So there's a picture of the house. Don't remember your house. What a picture of the inside. Help. I'll get up and show you. This is a dining room area. A house like that and I stand over, man.
You got to keep in mind, this is 4 years that has gone by with no leads. They're thinking, we finally have our guy in this killing.
You sad? Did you do anything else? Not 35 pounds.
And they're thinking, okay, he's given us some details of the case that we have.
One of them's children's bedroom. In the bedroom. And what, how did that happen? That's one that, I had taken one up to the door and asked, for water, and she invited me to move. After I was in the house, so I got to messing around with her and took her on into the bedroom. Sexually assaulted her and killed her. They didn't want us running around the house in there. Stuff steal. Anybody ever mess with the telephone? Oh, they would take it from the park. Frank would. He liked to experiment with it. He did. Well, he did. Take the insides of them out. Yeah.
They're thinking, okay, he's given us details of things that we know to be true from Kathleen Doyle's crime scene.
This is a picture of her. This is a picture of how she. I know.
When he would look at the pictures that were given to him, he would take his time. So in the detective's mind is maybe that was for
Lee Lucas and Otis Toole for the offense of murder for killing Kathleen Doyle.
They were now to the point where they could provide some answers to the family and bring the persons responsible for this crime to justice.
Now, Lucas says he didn't do it. Lucas now claims all of his other murder confessions were also wrong.
There were cases being attributed to Lucas and Toole that were geographically in different parts of the country at the same time, so there would not be any physical way that they could be committed by the same individuals. On September 10th, 1980, there was evidence that Lucas had sold scrap metal to a salvage site in Florida. It was highly unlikely that they had been up in Norfolk, Virginia, the night of September 9th, committing this homicide.
The first thing I did was I took...
They were not only looking at records, but they were providing DNA. The lab said, we have analyzed known contributed samples across the country, and we can suggest to you a number of potential kinship matches, in other words, potential relatives, and you're talking about cousins, you know, once, twice removed, and the report gave approximately 30...
Google, whatever, dead-end roads. But if you type the name Dennis Lee Bowman, serious offenses pop up throughout the state of Michigan. Attempted murder, abduction, attempted rape. We were 39, almost 40 years into an unsolved homicide case that we now had a name, and now we needed to put a face. The excitement that ran through me, just can't describe the words that I felt at that time frame. But I knew my job wasn't over. I knew my job was just beginning. Now I got to see what I can do about placing him in Norfolk in September of 1980.
What Detective Smith, working with the Michigan State Police, were able to determine was in the spring of 1980 in Michigan, Dennis Bowman had forced a teenage girl off the road. She was on a bicycle, apparently to commit some sort of assault on her. She managed to flee, and he ended up being arrested.
That hearing was in September of 1980, but his attorney said, Your Honor, my client is not able to be here today. My client is away on his 2-week military drill.
And in checking with the Navy, it was apparent that in September of 1980, Dennis Bowman was in Norfolk, Virginia for 2 weeks by himself. In this time frame, Kathleen Doyle was killed.
The police suspected Bowman of being involved in a number of crimes throughout the state of Michigan. Attempted murder, abduction, attempted rape, breaking and entering, and items of women's clothing being taken, like lingerie. One of the judges had made note that Dennis Lee Bowman poses a future danger to women.
Home. She made those complaints, and then very shortly afterwards, she disappeared.
Under mysterious, suspicious type circumstances, his adopted daughter went missing, so that was another red flag. Michigan police knew from dealing with Dennis from day one that he was very arrogant, he was very calculated, he was very methodical. He had been described to me as being one that wants to be in charge, one that wants to control the narrative. So he was put in the interview room and told that he was being charged with the homicide of a Navy fighter pilot's wife. And Dennis Bowman said, "You're pulling it out of your ass, and I want a lawyer." And at that point, it was over.
All right, Dennis, just have a seat over there.
It was really a rapport building process, and I had an opportunity to just learn about his childhood and figure out really who he was.
I had 5 older sisters' 16th birthday on. I never had a birthday, right? They forgot it. They slid right past my 16th birthday. I didn't say anything. And they went right past my 17th birthday. But I never heard, ever, not one time in my life, have I ever heard my mother say, "I love you." Not ever.
To have this aggression towards women the way that he did.
The last thing my dad told me was, he said, "Your mom's got a heart of gold." Heart of gold.
Just from me listening to him, he really felt comfortable talking to me. I didn't know it at the time, but he was on the verge of telling me his deepest, darkest secrets.
I went crazy.
Now, after you get appointed an attorney, I can't talk to you anymore, okay?
But I'm not gonna, the reason I want an attorney
Right.
is to explain things to me,
Sure.
all right? You're on the prosecutor's team, you know?
Well, I'm here for the facts, Dennis.
All right.
Okay,
But,
I don't play both sides. I'm here for the facts. If over the weekend you want to reach out and talk, then I've made arrangements down at the jail. All right, well, I think we're done, Dennis.
All right.
Okay? All right. Otherwise, I'll see you whenever I see you.
The next morning, I wake up at 7:30 to see I've got 2 missed phone calls from the contact at the city jail. And it basically said, "Look, man, this guy's been asking for you since 5:30.
Hey, Dennis.
I knew what my approach was, and I knew I wasn't going to make him feel threatened. I knew that he wanted to be in control. He wanted to control the narrative.
So I get a call this morning from one of the head honchos down there at the jail. They do wanted to talk to me.
Yes, right. Why don't we make this thing real easy, okay? Easy for you, easy for me.
Okay.
Is there any way we can get the Capitol knocked off?
Well,
now this is what I'm suggesting. I will forego the lawyer. I will tell you everything that I have remembered from that night, and I will go before the judge and plead guilty of my own volition. Do you think we could do that?
now I can't answer that question without having the prosecutor present and without having your attorney present. Now, you're going to be...
What if I don't have an attorney? What if I choose not to have one?
So,
more or less turn myself in.
So, if I understand you correctly, Dennis, you want to just do something along the lines of
going to court Monday saying, I did it.
He said, let's cut out the middleman, my attorney. Let's cut him out. He says, let's go straight to the source. That's you. So at that point, I said, you know what, I'll take what I can get out of this guy. The strategy that I prepared was repeating back to him what I think I understand about him. I said, I feel like your aggression from being mistreated down through the years has led to your anger and has fueled your rage.
So, I understand your background. I understand things bottled up and bottled up.
Well, yeah.
Fueled your aggression, right? And that's what I'd like to talk to you more about, Dennis. Are those instances and what was going on?
That was the period of which I go to the 2 weeks reserve.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 600 miles away from anybody I know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wound up like an 8-day clock. I said, okay, I got to get off this ship.
Right.
And I walked into a little bar. Well, I got stupid drunk.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just crazy, stupid drunk. I sat there for about, I'll bet, 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know how I was going to get back to base.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't afford a cab or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's night. And walking down the street, and I walked past his house. And I said, I wonder if they got some money right now. And I went up to the window, got out a pocket knife, got it open, opened up the window. I almost fell in the house. I was drunk. I mean, I was just drunk. And I looked in the top drawers, because everybody's got a junk drawer.
Right.
There was another door. I opened it up, and she was running. Right. She sat up and started to scream. I still had that little penknife in my hand.
Right.
And when I went to push her back down, she grabbed that hand. I can vivid, I can see it get right in my mind, that knife going right there. I blanked out right there. And I said, lady, I'm leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked out the front door.
So as he's going through this, and he's telling me, I realize he's leaving out key details. The ties, the bindings, the other stab. But nonetheless, I'm taking what I can get from him, and again, not coming across threatening, that very soft approach, just allowing him to tell me his version of events.
Do you remember having sex with her?
No. In fact, I don't know how I ever had sex with her. I was drunk as a skunk.
Right. Do you remember if you tied her up at all?
No, I don't know that either.
Did he genuinely black out and not remember these events? It was my job to see if I can pull out some of these other details. I wanted him to draw a diagram of the house to see if that maybe would jog some things in his memory in the event that he did legitimately black out.
Why don't you start out just by drawing inside the house? Let's just start out with that. And you want to describe it to me as you're kind of going along? Okay.
There's the door there.
Okay.
Came out of this room in the living room. She was right there. As soon as I opened the door. Right there is where everything happened.
He's putting himself inside the house and he's describing every single detail to a T that we had.
Yes, Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
In the
Demon used to be right out here in front, right? Had a little pointed ears and horns and claws.
The demon.
The demon.
His voice just completely took a different tone and a different demeanor.
But now, the demon's in here. And it still tries to get out. But I'm explosion hits. And you turn to fury. You're full of adrenaline. Or you just, I don't know how to explain it. You're superhuman. You do something and what sense at all? Anything. Tell me about that demon. I'm just, it's like I got electricity. My arm finger. Like I got like electricity going through everything. Sure. My sister asked me my wife.
Dealt with, off and on his entire life.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it's a demon coming out and you doing things that you normally wouldn't do. Is that accurate? Yeah.
See, I'm looking. All right, I'm looking.
Or are you denying that you
No,
had sex with her?
No, I'm not denying. I'm just looking, and I can see her.
You can see yourself
I can see her stomach.
Let's stop for a second. I don't remember.
Dennis had so many key details before and after. I never believed that he legitimately blacked out and did not remember having sex with her.
You don't remember having sex with her? I don't remember having sex with her. Is that something you normally forget?
Not normally, no. But this was not normal. This was when I was extremely, extremely, extremely upset, and I broke.
All right, I know it was 40 years ago. I get it. I couldn't tell you everything I did 25, 30 years ago on a specific day, right? So I get that. I get there. It all depends on the day. No, you're right. And the event. And the event. And the event. And I'm glad you said that because this was a very, very traumatic event for her family, for you, okay? There are going to be some details that you're not going to forget. I'm telling you the truth to the best of my memory. You're giving me the story, but you're also leaving out things, all right? It has to be believable, all right, to everybody involved.
I just still can't wrap my hands around the fact that he just didn't remember doing all these other things to her. I had to take kind of a harsher, more aggressive approach.
I don't think you were as drunk as you say you were. Other intricate details that you're giving me matches things that we have. But you're leaving out having sex with this woman. Now, hold on. But you keep going over this. I want you to hear me out. And I don't know, I can't remember ever having sex with this woman. That's where we got the DNA, is from having sex with this girl. Nobody's going to believe you.
I was starting to call him out on some of his lies.
You beat the hell out of that girl. And you stabbed the hell out of that girl.
I did not.
Yeah, you did.
No, I did not.
Yeah, you did. You're giving great detail, but you're leaving out the one most single important thing in this entire case, and that's having sex with this woman. I don't remember. I don't remember. What did you do after the stab? Went nuts. All right. What does go nuts entail? Does that entail tying her up, beating her half to death? Does that include having sex with her? What does it mean?
What if I told you she had 9, 10, 11 other stab wounds. What would you say to that?
That's bullshit. Because I only remember one. One.
What if I told you that she had broken bones all in her face?
No. No.
You beat the hell out of that girl.
I only stabbed one time. One.
How do you know?
One
If
time.
you were so...
That's the
Ron,
only when
how
I
did you know?
because I can still see that in my mind.
Did she have 9, 10, 11 stab wounds? No, but that was kind of my way to see if I could try to switch it up on him.
Sex with her, but apparently I did.
I don't think he was going to ever take full ownership of what he did that day. And that's when he kind of reverted to this childlike state to where he wouldn't look at me, he didn't want anything to do with me, and just kept saying, I didn't do that.
I didn't do that.
Give me a couple minutes then. We're gonna leave it as it is, okay? We're gonna leave it as it is, and you know, if you honestly, legitimately cannot remember it, then
I didn't do that.
Okay. Are you okay, Dennis?
No. No, I'm not. Do that.
You ready to go back? Yeah. All right. All right, you ready? You okay?
No.
It was mission accomplished. I think we got more than we ever thought we would get.